How good is a halberd? I asked you this question because it was the #1 response to our spear video. So many people drew the parallels of my deep-seated love for spears and the shock and awe that axes seem to possess, so it's not a surprise that so many of you suggested using the halberd. Also, by the way, it feels so weird saying halberd. I've been saying hellberg, like iceberg. Apparently it's hell and then like bird. Odd. I'm probably gonna go back to my old way of saying it. It's just gonna be a mess. And I am happy to report that, of course, Blade and Sorcery actually has a halberd. Whether it's any good is something we'll have to see for ourselves. But there is one problem. I have no idea how to use a halberd. But that's half the fun. Let's learn on the fly and test out what is more of an art in the whole martial art thing. Starting off with this move I found about dragging a weapon away using the hooked nature of the axe blade.
How hard could this be, you know? What are the odds that it's gonna glitch out of my hands? All right, come on, yeah, I'm right here. Right, ready? Neck, pull back. Nope, I knew it. Damn it. Hey, gang, pull back. That worked. That's how it worked. Maybe just less beans. Hook. Wait, hook. Miss, pull back. It doesn't work great. Fuck you. Hold this. Let's play with some magic. Magic. Okay. Not great when it comes to the body. It's too much mass. Leg, pull back. I mean, yeah, see there, I've got, what the hell is this? Ah, fuck. Run. Yep, take my weapon. Okay. Hey, can you both just hold this? Thank you. Oh, it's right there. Okay, so it is a vial. It is somewhere near us, but hot damn. Let's just try. Oh, chill. Tried and tested and punch. Hammer. It's all the axe. All the axe. Get all the axe. It's all the axe. We push and just try to get in there. Okay. We use the I like that idea. I don't really know why you would do it. When the fuck would you be doing polearm versus polearm though? Okay, that's something we can fuck with. Okay, let's try to trap a weapon. I'll be honest, gang, this whole hook thing, I'm not sure how much it's gonna really jive with everything, but the idea being that we can basically hook a person's weapon, I feel is weird. I feel like we don't have that much range to hook it normally, you know? Granted, I don't think this is as big. Like, for instance, that's how big it is. The tip is about my height, which is like 6 feet or so, but I don't know how big our character is. Get out of my way, garbage. All right. Oh, you have a bow, is that right? God damn it. Okay, that's the main issue right now. My hand strength is ass. Can we have that back, please? All right, sir. I'm just going to do what I do with spear stuff and hope for the best. Give me that leg. You know, guys, people complicate things just abysmally so, you know, and you can always just kind of go to town, and it's just all these forms and all this schmutz. Hey, bud, mind holding this? He has a fucking goddamn bow. I can't counter with the bow, my guy. Okay, this might be something. Okay, I'm gonna take that shield. Give me that hook, shield, arm, hook, weapon. Not really. Hook. That worked, actually. Holy shit. That worked so shockingly well, miss. Thank you. A little jabby. Okay, good. All right. That actually... Now, some would argue, why wouldn't you just fucking bomb into someone? Or, me being a filthy spear person that I am, ah! Didn't I get all it back? Get it back immediately. Oh, you pushed me down here. I can still pull it back and do all that. But we're trying not to use something, so... Perfect. It's getting weird. I just got telekinesis, so I'm really enjoying it. Also, I've happened to have all of the special gravity magic powers, which kind of make the game a fun little joke. Oh god. Holy shit, oh my god. Didn't realize how weak we were. Let me out. Yoo-hoo. Oh, that's a problem. Hey, you first. Come over here. I don't want to fight in there. It's way too compact. Although I think we could be fine if we did imply... Actually, this is a good test. Again, everyone always says that, like, in close quarters like this, we're boned. But I think we're actually pretty okay. Knee. Knee went great. Throat. Neck. I was actually just the chest. That went great. Again, we could still do spear thrusts when we're in like a really close cornered area, you know? I think we'd still do jabs. Like we only have this much space, but I think that's fine. Yeah, you can still generate a lot of power from that, especially with how heavy these things are. Like, if you want to try to do shit like this is where it gets real fucky real fast. You Austin Powers yourself really badly. But if you just stay in this little area, so because it's about the same size as me, so as long as you're staying in this thing, I can't see how I can't see how you're not pretty okay. Same thing as if you basically set it up like this or like this. You do a bunch of lunges. You can go around yourself, stuff like that. You can grab, orient it this way, that way. I don't really see the tremendous issue, but who cares? We're trying to grab weapons with the hook blade-esque thing. Miss! Come on! That armor's one hell of a thing. Now, maybe we just discussed... That worked great! But it left a little bit to be desired, because we kind of couldn't cap it, because again, slippery hands. Who would have thought? Slippery hands. There it is. Cheers, miss. All right. Okay. Honestly, it kind of works. If Blade and Sorcery had like bigger grip, I have max strength, so I don't know why it's not letting me grab the shit out of this. Because whenever I hook it on something and I walk backwards, hook and then walk backwards, my hands just break off it. But I don't know why you wouldn't just lunge or chop essentially at them per se. But I kind of get it. That one I feel like is not so much a martial art. If martial art was a spectrum, that one is in the martial category and less about the art of it. Does that make sense? Okay, good.
Yeah, sadly, you can see this is a no-go specifically in Blade Sorcery. Yeah, your hands just like say no and they slip off, and it's real frustrating. But to kind of be fair to the technique, I could kind of see how it could be used in very specific scenarios. But I have to say, why do you make things so much more complicated? Why not just do a thrust or a slap? Like you're going all the effort to drag out away a weapon. I just feel... Let's talk about that. Something I have observed time and time again with learning all of the weird martial arts I've had in my life, as well as just having a bunch of fun with sparring, is this consistent pattern that's in damn near every martial art. And to put it simply, there is a hell of a lot of art in the whole martial art scene. Or another way you could put it is, why do all that when I could just do this? All the fancy swishy swashy when you could just lay into the foundation, and I feel like you get a lot more out of it. I think the reason for this is a symptom of something I've also noticed in the MMA community. Now, first and foremost, love me some martial arts, but I do find it somewhat frustrating that 90% of the world treats this sport like it is the holy bastion of proficiency when it comes to combat. My core frustration coming from the fact of how stacked the question is. You are literally trapped in a cage with nothing but your mortal body, and smashing each other's mortal bodies together is not how mankind survived this long. We survived by using tools and also implementing strategy. Take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for instance, a fantastic martial art, but if you implement that in the real world, sure, you may be able to control some drunk guy or something, but there's also a high probability that if you're dealing with someone who's truly dangerous, when you're trying to get into a control position, a real human being wouldn't try to lock up your shoulder or grab you by the back, but instead reach in their pocket and grab a knife and stab you. Or maybe it's a rock on the ground or whatever's in reach. They'd fill their hands. And if they didn't have those tool usage, they may call to their buddy and you might get kicked in the back of the head whilst you're trying to lock down somebody's arms. That's the true nature of violence, unfortunately. And the scariest part is that violence can also be wielded by a child or a scrawny old man or a woman who just gave birth or something crazy. This is why human beings survive for as long as they could, despite their shape and size, is your capacity to leverage tools and strategy for your own survival, making it so people that would otherwise be determined to be frail or weak could absolutely skewer the beefiest beefcake. All this is to say, there is a lot of quote-unquote moves that were probably designed for dueling purposes, not necessarily actual violence. Sparring in front of the king in like a gladiator-like arena. The kind of moves that were meant to end a person in the flashiest and somewhat effective way possible. But to give some credit to MMA, if you've ever seen an MMA fighter versus a classically trained karate or tai chi person, woo! The prospect of just really leaning into the basic striking patterns from mixed martial art or kickboxing, focusing on things like basic striking, head movement, and speed, without any flair or chi, makes for one really effective weapon. Long story short, grinding out proficiency in the foundation tends to be where you're gonna get all your value from. And the more simulation games I play, the more this comes up time and time again. Maybe we just don't have AI that's intelligent enough to do a flurry of attacks, but I still don't think you'd ever go wrong with a spear thrust. Or a halberd thrust. I get. And blatant sorcery is no different. Enemies tend to push on you, do weird, strange stuff that kind of makes them in some ways unpredictable, in other ways too predictable. But what always seems to work is just the base foundation of, well, strikes, essentially. But who knows? Maybe pulling off area spear thrusts or redirecting spear thrusts has its limit. Fortunate for me, I have yet to see where that limit resides. The only thing I've ever seen do that is when you completely change the weapon type itself, i.e. a bow, things like that. Something that completely counters the weapon that you're dealing with. Things like a shield or something like that. Although I do want to make a video about that, because I think that's also misunderstood, the shield thing. That's another comment I got a lot of, which I want to talk to you about. Back to Halberd. Sorry, that was a long-winded tangent. Alas, let's see if we can't find any more core foundation, aka the basics, that really make this weapon shine.
Oh, I kind of like that better. Yeah, let's just try using the forms, the hand forms, and see how we are actually able to make sense of it all. What a terrible guard. I feel like you should just put the weapon in front of you instead of... Yeah. Okay, I unfortunately couldn't film that bit. I did use the whole hand pose thing. God damn it. I did use the whole hand pose thing. It worked out surprisingly well, but I basically came to the deduction of it's far better to basically be more comfortable about moving around it than to basically be locked into, like, trying to make this work constantly, you know? And then trying to do stuff like this, or like this constantly. It's far better just to kind of move your hands where you need them to be based on the attack or whatever that you want to do. But that's kind of the weird thing that might be full of shit. Again, I don't know this weapon. This is just what I'm picking up on the fly. Ah! Ooh, I like that. All right, how easy is it to use? Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, that's not good. My tracking is not that good. Good old Quest 2. Oh no, this is the bad place to rumble. Also a lot of armor here. And like we mentioned beforehand, this guy doesn't do much. Yep. No. Goddamn strength. Well, that armor, huh? Yeah. That's what I thought. Don't. See, this is what I mean. And even the armor, it's just so inconsistent. This pick thing, you're far better off just going with the spear end, and you'll be able to sometimes make it work. How dare you stand where they stood, you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like the halberd in this game is much more of an axe than it is a spear, and this bit is just sacrilege. It does nothing. And knee shot. Also, they really know how to walk off a knee shot like crazy, and sometimes the blade doesn't go in as good as gone. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me, holy shit. Boom, deflected. Knee. Leg, missed. Alright. I'll be honest, guys, I'm just falling back on what essentially is just tried and tested striking stuff, you know what I mean? Granted, maybe these people are not, like, skilled, but I honestly feel like people pulling out one of these... Hook the leg or vagina, I guess, whatever, and then the ass, and then this, ooh, and then spear thrusts, etc. Which is better just to fuck you, or don't make things more complicated than they need to be. And maybe you want to do a little bit of non-lethal, and you just use the bunt end, and you non-lethal, just like a mace is non-lethal. Bunted end, difficult as shit to actually function. Maybe in practice could. I don't know why it wouldn't. I mean, maybe if someone traps your weapon, I feel like it'd be really easy to recall. I am noticing that being an issue, where like if you try to recall said weapon after doing some sort of thrust, and you happen to be facing the exact weapon type that you have, which basically has like this little bit, which can basically like trap your weapon within its hook weapon, it may be like a point for a spear gain, where this head like would get caught up in another weapon, like tangled easily, you know? So as much as, yes, you can hook other weapons seemingly also can get caught on yours.
All right, so yeah, maybe a giant courtyard surrounded by archers, mages, and every other weapon type you'd see, and a ton of very expensive armor that should be limiting their fucking mobility to some extent, is probably putting this weapon outside of its depth. And again, if you guys haven't put it together, I'm going out of my way to not lean on the crazy strong spear thrust that this weapon also has, just so that we can try to see what this weapon's strength is outside of that for testing purposes and all that fun stuff. But despite all that, having the deck stacked quite against it, the Halberd is still putting up quite a good fight. Granted, I am very disappointed by the balancing that I think is eating this weapon alive. That Raven Speak on the end of it, I thought was supposed to be able to really dig into armor and do some damage. Maybe even not to plate, but maybe to chainmail, I mean. But unfortunately, it was way too buggy to do. I wish they just gave it like the heat armor piercing effect permanently without actually having to heat up the weapon, because it really feels like it's the most hit or miss thing ever. However, the kind of spear tip, or the like diamond spear tip, which looks really reinforced, that can actually punch through some chainmail, so that felt pretty good, of course. But weirdly enough, I didn't really feel like the power from the axe head. I think it's maybe because the entire weapon is supposed to be like a steel rod, so it's more of a balanced weight instead of all the weight being on the end, but it just made my axe head not feel like it was able to really bear down and crush into enemies, and got caught on a lot of shit. Again, I do think it's just severely undercooked for balance sake. But I'll be sure to keep my eye out for a modder that gives the Halberd its just desserts, making every part of it feel like it really functions as it should. Game balance be damned.
So, yeah, there's still like probably 5 minutes in the video. You're probably wondering what's going on. Well, at the same time, this unlocked, which is basically just like a fully decked out Halberd. Another thing also unlocked, and that would be... Oh... that would be this. With a staggering amount of length. And comes with these little guys, which are actually amazing. As much as this I just don't think is encoded particularly well, like we talked about a little bit probably in voiceover land. These are basically perfect for just getting inside the neck plate of the enemy. They're like a lot sharper, I guess, so they just kind of tend to go in whenever you hit flesh, whereas this thing just is like, am I supposed to go through armor more than I am flesh? I can't go through flesh at all. Kill me. Also, this thing, instead of having a blunted end, has an actual fucking spike. So you can actually do like thrusts and then come over here and stab into things like that. You can like stab it into the foot. Also, I just feel like this one mechanically feels a lot better to use. I really wanted to show off just how good this is and just how much an extra couple feet can make, because holy hell, are you 100% safe. Ooh, magic! See, like that. That's just so nice. Gets right at the neck. And if you want to actually hit, you can do this. See? It's so... Oh, hello. There's another one here. Hold. See, and I can do little slashes because it's still a pretty hefty blade. And like I said, it's much better coated for like actually being able to penetrate. You see? It's not very... You don't need much beans for it to go in. Same thing with this. You just tap them and it goes in. Axe length. And look, we're like... We shouldn't be able to move around at all. But again, if we just do little thrusts, we have plenty of things. But yes, what do you call it? You have this weird shit, but again, so long as it's near the same height as you, I think you're pretty good. And you can always walk in like this. So yes, like again, we're still well within our ability to just do these lunges and to, yeah, and if we need to reorient, we can basically push it forward a little bit, sweep around our hands. We're still not at the top of the ceiling. Now, usually, there's a bastard. And again, that's not really using its range, but hey, do it. Do it. Wah! I thought I was going to bounce it back at you. I guess I don't have enough blade. Excuse me. All right, this is perfect. This is our world. If we did that and then just grabbed there, that works shockingly well. I don't know how human that is, but hey. I mean, truth be told, as much as I do love the spear a lot, I honestly don't know if you need this big special one. I feel like the base, like literally javelin, is kind of as much as the spear necessitates you need. You know, like it does plenty by just being a spear. Having all this stuff is very convenient. I do think the one thing I noticed the most with this, actually, but this. Having like, and actually I think I'd bulk out that a lot more, but that's the thing that I noticed actually comes in handy when you actually miss your strike. You still got a lot of force bearing down just with this, but having this to actually like, whenever that force does get hit, it multiplies and fucking stabs into somebody is a nice little add. Even though I always thought those were supposed to be like some sort of weird, obscure way to like hold a spear and like trap somebody's guard and then come up like that or come back around like this, you know? I thought it was meant to be like grab a weapon and and try to stop it. But I mean, maybe that's how it can be used. But I prefer it just being like a wedge that can kind of punch through.
I'm going to keep this pretty short. The spear still feels absolutely fantastic. But I will admit the whole glitz and glamour really doesn't seem to add much, besides the reinforced spearhead. Or guard, I guess? I'm not sure what that really is called, but that's been fantastically efficient. But alas, I still want to see what modders do to both of these weapons, a spear and a halberd, really leaning into what they were supposed to accomplish, without being restricted by, of course, game balance. Or maybe, just maybe, when you try to be everything, you're not particularly good at anything. Granted, that's not actually the full quote, the whole jack of all trades, master of none thing. The full quote is, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." Quote by William Shakespeare. Save us, modders! Ha! Give me it all! Okay. Talking about spears so much, it really leaves too many innuendos here, and it's not helping, but I digress. Ha! The next video probably about spear, shield and spear.
I feel like an asshole. I think it's something cool to look at.